Elevate Farms recently acquired Fieldless Farms in a bet to expand Canada's indoor agricultural footprint. The indoor farming operations are hoping to bolster domestic food supply and champion Canadian food sovereignty. So for more on this, I'm joined by Amin Jadavji, CEO of Elevate Farms. It's good to have you join us. Thanks so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Lindsay. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you and talk about this. I mean, I guess one of the first things that I want to talk about here is the acquisition of Fieldless Farms. What does that acquisition do for Elevate?
Well, I mean, it establishes a fantastic footprint for expansion across Canada. At Elevate, we've been really focused on developing the core technology and quite, I guess, dissimilar. Fieldless has been working on the consumer, the sort of the front end side of interfacing with retailers. So this is actually a perfect little marriage where we're bringing tech with retail supply and demand.
Was there one that mattered more than the other? Like, was it about scale, technology, or market access? If we're looking at one of those three things, I know you mentioned tech.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's all extremely important. Having something and no one to buy it is equally as disappointing as not having the ability to make it. It's just we've really developed this technology from ground up, and we're actually being seen as industry leaders. So again, it takes time to do all of these things, and putting it together just improves that ability to get access to market and scale up the business much quicker.
I guess we should backtrack a little bit, maybe for our viewers that don't know about Elevate Farms. Can you just briefly explain what vertical farming technology is? Because that's what you specialize in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what we do is we grow vegetables, in our case, specifically leafy greens. We do this indoors with LED lights. Our core tech has actually been developed with it actually emerged from space research work. So we're quite dialed in with some of the space research group at the University of Guelph and other leading researchers here. You get a glimpse of some of our automated production. And so we've really taken this deep understanding of photobiology research, figured out how to minimize energy, and then to that we've added kind of industrial automation. So you see conveyors, sensors. I mean, the word data and AI is always overused, but it's essentially automated farming, and we're doing yields that are in the range of 400 to 500 times more efficient than field production.
It's so fascinating. Do you foresee this as being more so the future of farming?
Yeah, loaded question. Absolutely, I think it is. Look, if I speak for a second about so fresh vegetables in Canada are 60% imported. In the case of what we're growing, these leafy greens, salads, and herbs, we're looking at 90% of Canada's supply is imported. And the majority of that import is coming from the southwest of the U.S. So we're talking 4,000 kilometers in areas that are arguably water stressed, or the most water stressed in North America. So there are all kinds of supply chain risks and issues in getting these products over to where consumers are. And ultimately, I think that's where technology plays a key role. I know we don't often think of technology coming into food, but this is maybe a really great practical application.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I heard Minister François-Philippe Champagne talking about that, how much Canada imports, particularly in the winter months. You say 90, I heard 80% at one point compared to the summer when it's about down to 30%. When it comes to Canadian food sovereignty, from your perspective, what risks are most pressing at this point, do you think?
Well, I mean, if we take the attitude that everything's fine, we don't have to change, then I guess there's no reason. And like you mentioned, those numbers do vary summer to winter. So Canada has this sort of enormous problem with the quantity of food that we import, especially through the winter months. And what we're seeing right now is, I think, a movement across all sectors. It's not consumer driven, it's retailers, it's government, but everyone's looking at ways of, or at least understanding that there could be threats to our supply chain. And we're looking at ways of how we can mitigate those risks, and to a certain extent, how we can support companies like ourselves and this acquisition with Fieldless, how we can be supported by consumers to develop more Canadian solutions.
So what is the future then? I mean, in the next year, what's the outlook for Elevate? What are some of the goals you have, especially now that you have this acquisition?
Yeah, look, in the relatively short time, in the last roughly 4 months, we've almost doubled production and sales. We in the coming months will be doubling the number of retailers that we are in with, and honestly, we're just going to continue to further create that sort of exponential growth. In the broader sense, we look at ourselves or we're actually being looked at as a world leader with this technology platform. And so I think we're also eyeing kind of international markets because, quite frankly, everyone around the world is having these same sort of concerns, sovereignty over energy, sovereignty over data centers, and certainly sovereignty over food is a very, very pressing issue globally.
Oh, so as a world leader, are we not seeing this type of farming? We're just looking at images right now of this type of farming. Are we not seeing that in other countries around the world?
What we've seen is a lot of people kind of grab money when money was flowing and jump into an industry that really had no track record without really proving out the tech. So when you think of sort of early stage tech companies that just they have this idea that eventually things will get cheaper. In our case, there is an actual manufacturing component. There's a science component, and we've so to say we've done our homework. We spent a good part of the last 7 years developing this solution, which includes photobiology, so understanding what colors of light will stimulate plant growth and minimize energy, for example. It is being done, but it hasn't been done in a sort of scientific way that we've approached this.
Very interesting. Well, that's all the time we have, so we'll have to leave it there. But Amin Jadavji, CEO of Elevate Farms, joining us. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me, Lindsay.
Thank you.